ventilators are then withdrawn. Then the shell is easily removed from the mold, and that's because it weighs a mere 16 kilos. To make a tub in another shape, they change the mold. They put in another acrylic sheet, it is heated on the ceramic and fiberglass mold, the little holes vacuum out air, and the job is done. At any rate, the molded acrylic sheet is not sturdy enough to be filled with water, so it must be reinforced with fiberglass. This is the fiberglass. Mixed with resin, it is blown onto the mold by a robotic unit. Stored in reservoirs, the resin is carried to the robot by pumps. Here it produces a chemical reaction between the fiberglass and the resin, which produces a reinforced shell. Laminating is one of the most important steps. With brush and roller, they eliminate all air bubbles which could weaken the tub. This makes the fiberglass resin adhere perfectly to the acrylic shell. The process requires 75 minutes. The shell is then transported to the milling department. The shell is now dry and hard. They can extract it manually, but here they use digitally controlled machines. The operation begins with the trimming of the edges of the bathtub. During this operation, the robot will also pierce openings for the drains, the whirlpool jets and the air jets, for the overflow as well as for ambiance light. The bathtub, almost completed, is now sent to another workshop. They can now install the pump, the piping, and the blower. These last operations are done manually. The pump is installed for the whirlpool system as well as the PVC pipes, whose joints have been hermetically sealed to prevent any leaks. Finally, to make sure that everything is functioning well, each bathtub undergoes a water test. Some 13 steps have elapsed, plus 3 to 5 hours of work depending on the tub being made. It almost invites you to climb in. If I could pick my favorite aircraft, I'd pick the helicopter. Why? It can go anywhere, move in almost any direction, and take off and land in the most difficult situations. Man has always wanted to fly, and the versatility of the helicopter has allowed him to reach unexpected heights. Plans for a helicopter were created with CATCHA 3D, design assisting computer software. It takes 700 hours of work between the drawing stage and assembly of the pattern. The helicopter is made of carbon fiber, a composite material lighter and stronger than steel, protected by 2 layers of green plastic. The fiber is cut with a blade controlled by ultrasound. They lay on several thicknesses of fiber to make the rear fuselage. The green light of a laser helps position the parts. Then with a heat gun, they apply a beehive web, which increases the solidity of the structure. But the carbon fiber is still soft. To harden, it must be washed under pressure for 10 hours in this autoclave oven at 177 degrees centigrade. The pieces exit the oven and head for machining. The door of the motor housing is kept in a cutting jig and is shaped with a manual shaper. Before installing the parts in place, they strike it with a resonance hammer to detect any faults. Next, the electrical harness is mounted on a pattern before being installed in the aircraft. This particular helicopter has 2,351 meters of wiring, but others can have almost 9 kilometers. The wiring will be connected to the flight instruments panel, the brain of the helicopter. This aircraft has 9,964 rivets fastened with a gun and a ram. They also apply a sealant to prevent the infiltration of corrosion creating humidity. They now assemble the helicopter's rear fuselage. Piece by piece, the aircraft takes shape. They will install mechanical components later. The motor arrives. This one weighs 120 kilos and has to be carefully handled. Among the other parts to be installed is the circular plate on which the blades will be attached. Safety is primary. The screw nut holes are perforated, allowing the insertion of the brake cable. This tightly braided metal wire prevents the nut from loosening due to strong vibrations. Now they bolt on the 4 blades which make the helicopter fly. Weighing 41 kilos each, they're made of composite materials and an aluminum alloy. They're attached to the main rotor. The dashboard is installed in the cockpit, and all the wires are hooked up. Contact is established, and all is functioning properly. Nothing remains but finishing the interior of the craft. They install seats, safety belts, the consoles, bulkheads, windows and doors, as well as the trimmings. The helicopter is almost completed, but it still has to be painted. When done, the helicopter is towed outside the assembly hangar.